Yes, so my name is Eugen Schindler. I am a systems modeling interoperability architect at OC. And that basically means that I am helping people that make models in different disciplines and also on different levels to help them make these models work together in order to get not just value in their own little corner of modeling, but actually an exponential value from the modeling by combining all these models. Normally, if you work with a high-tech system and you start making it more and more and more complex, then one of the inevitable things that happens is the so-called reverse engineering pain. You need to always go and in the end understand again how part of the system works. Now, if you can transform this by keeping your models up to date, and normally people make a model and then they maybe throw it away and then it gets disconnected from the real world. But by making it in such a way that people need it for their everyday work, you can make it much more explorable and much less reverse engineering and much more like, how does it work? And now I understand it. And that translates directly to business value in the sense that it saves you a lot of money on reverse engineering during development, and it decreases the time to market a lot. So people change all the time. Every few years, some person moves away from one position and goes to the other. And then at some point, what you have to do is you become the owner of some component, for example, and you have to understand how it works. So before you can really productively make changes in this component to meet the new business demands, whatever it is, you need quite some time to actually reverse engineer this component. Oftentimes the documents and also currently models are so vastly out of sync that you really need, the only source is the actual component. And with software that would be a piece of source code, but with an actual physical system that can sometimes just mean that you have to go to the system and you have to observe the behavior and how it works in fact. And I personally think that Imagineering, or let's say the creativity component, is something that becomes more and more important, especially in the future. And so one of the consequences of doing modeling in the way as I proposed, in fact, will automate away a lot of the manual work, the manual and tedious and boring work of making experiments again, of reverse engineering things. And it will free up a lot of work in the bright minds that we have in R&Ds, but not only in R&Ds, also in the production and also in service and everywhere where we need to make things smarter rather than harder. And this is where creativity and Imagineering plays a bigger and bigger role more and more. It doesn't start with the technology, it starts with the people. So if the people seek from two different domains, mechanics and maybe software, if they seek to understand each other more, maybe I don't need to know exactly everything that the other domain does, but I need to understand them a bit. Then they can work with each other and they can actually get this unleashed. New ideas could happen under the shower, and it could happen also while you talk. What I see a lot is where the most explosion of the new ideas happens is actually where you combine people from completely different fields. They try to understand each other, or they have to work on a common solution for some kind of problem that you give them. And a lot of kind of crossbreed happens. And it's a bit like this talk that we saw this morning with Joris Dick. He was busy of doing stuff for art, basically reverse engineering the art in a scientific way. And well, yeah, somehow it also works for forensics. And this is exactly the kind of things that I also observe typically within R&Ds, but actually not only. If you take someone, for example, from production and you let them work with people of R&D on a specific problem, maybe you need to accelerate a piece of time to market or some kind of supply chain, I think there will be much more ideas and much more the more different the people are and from the more different departments or directorates they come.